cedi. It is not the dollar, it is not the pound sterling, and it is not the euro. It is the cedi. So next time when you go borrowing 3 billion from the Eurobond market and you come jubilating and spending it on fish and keke, know that the exchange rate will translate it to cedi. And when the exchange rate, which is your own mismanagement, is reflected to show your true conduct of managing the currency, don't come here and cry and say we should use the dollar, because the dollar is not our currency. Mr. Speaker, there is a major challenge in our country. I'm yet to see a father in a house who eats all the food in the house, lick the plate, washes the plate and hangs it without thinking about how the children in the house will eat tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, that is the government we have today. Mr. Speaker, this government went and mortgaged 10 years of revenues that are meant for this country and for our future generations to borrow on ESLA. That money they borrowed, they know they will not pay for it. But they don't care whether in future our children suffer or not. And as we speak, we are using all the monies we are getting from ESLA just to pay for the interest service, and we've left the debt for the future generation to suffer, whether they can pay or not. Mr. Speaker, this same father also went and mortgaged future proceeds from debt fund, so that those proceeds are not available to future governments and future children, and does not care what happens to our future children. Mr. Speaker, they now say that the mineral royalties, we should allow them to mortgage that one too for another 10, 15 years, so that our children will die and suffer because this father doesn't care about the future. Mr. Speaker, a Japan in whatever form or shape will not be tolerated by us. Because we must think about future generations. You have taken ESLA, you have taken Get Fund. In fact, bauxite that is buried on the ground that you have not seen, but somebody told you there's something buried there, you have used it to go and collect money. Mr. Speaker, what kind of father is this? That you eat the entire food, lick the plate, wash it dry, and now you want to go for the last morsel that is left in the plate. We won't allow that. Mr. Speaker, one of the difficulties I have, and I heard my colleague say that for every 100 Ghana cedis that we borrowed under John Dramani Mahama, we were spending 34 cedis to service the debt. That is 34% of your tax revenue. So John Mahama left you a room of about 66% to manage the economy. That is what we call fiscal space and fiscal buffers. And fiscal buffers are important in times of crisis because they provide the opportunity and the capacity of the economy to show resilience, because you can expand the fiscal space, still be able to deal with the challenges, and still live within manageable limits of your debt and your deficit. Unfortunately, these people, they have moved from 34% to 103%. Mr. Speaker, so what it means is that over a period of 4 years, they have squandered 64% in the fiscal space, resulting from interest payment, and now they go ahead to borrow 8.3 billion Ghana cedis just to pay for interest again. Mr. Speaker, so it is no wonder that recently when you went to the market to borrow, you told the market that we beg you, our economy is in shatters. We cannot pay the interest. So just lend us the money. When we are going to pay the principal, because we will be paying it, it will be paid when we are out of government. The future generation will now think about how to pay the principal and the interest. Mr. Speaker, this is a reckless group of government. And we cannot allow a government that consigns the future of our country to the dustbin. Mr. Speaker, you manage resilience by building buffers. You build financial buffers, you build what we call fiscal buffers. You have squandered your fiscal buffers. You have even mortgaged the rest that are almost 10 years ahead. Mr. Speaker, we left you $500 million in your sinking fund. That's a responsible father. We left you over $300 million in the Ghana Infrastructure Fund as a financial buffer. That's a responsible father. We left you $200 million in the Stabilization Fund as a financial buffer. Mr. Speaker, when disaster struck, if you had not squandered those monies, you won't go cap in hand begging for $1 billion, which your father, John Dramani Mahama, left for you. Mr. Speaker, that is the essence of economic management. Mr. Speaker, we now have a situation where we are being told that in 1 year, I've never seen a situation where you decide not to manage the economy for 5 years. And you decide to manage unexisting narrative. You keep telling Ghanaians what does not exist in terms of the type of economy we have. And you keep telling us that our deficit was below 5%. You went to IMF to take money, you said 7.7%. You kept telling us that you are running a positive primary balance. When you went to IMF, you said it was a negative 4%. Mr. Speaker, we have been managing the narrative for almost 5 years. Now the reality is facing us. And we are now asking us to allow the people of Ghana to suffer for your incompetence and your mess. We are not going to be part of that kind of incompetence. Mr. Speaker, even the banking sector that they told us they had reformed, these are the only people who reform a banking sector for it to collapse again. Mr. Speaker, the minister's own report is saying, and I want to quote you, that in paragraph 127, that money supply significantly declined, which is the reason in paragraph 128 we saw a drop in credit to the economy from 9% to 14.4%. So that physical expansion, when you borrowed almost 44 billion, where did that money go? Did it end up under your pillows? How could you spend 44 billion in deficit and yet the money disappears from the economy? That the money supply in the economy suddenly disappeared, even though you had embarked on one of the most aggressive fiscal expansion. Did you put the money under your pillows? No wonder the Auditor General is saying over the last 4 years, irregularities that we cannot account for is about 36 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, this is the type of government we are dealing with. Mr. Speaker, we cannot trust this government. When this government came and said they were moving from taxation to production, and said that they had abolished a special import duty, Abosu Okai people rose and jubilated, not knowing they were waiting for them at the port to show them the difference. And when they arrived at the port, Mr. Speaker, people must understand what is benchmark values. Benchmark values are the exceptions and not the rule. So what you do is that when the commissioner is suspicious that a particular invoice has been under invoice, then he has a mandate to use his own valuation to determine the appropriate rate. After you remove that import duty of 1%, you went to the port and you gave all the items your own valuation. Now they'll go and pay, and they realize that they were paying 3-4% more than when you had the 1% there. Mr. Speaker, when you remove taxes, we suffer at the port. Mr. Speaker, when these people came and said a Jumapa budget, we ended up with unemployment, escalated unemployment. Mr. Speaker, when these people came and said the year of rose, we ended up being insulted that educated people should go on demonstration. Our roads were not fixed. Mr. Speaker, today they are saying that they want to do U-Start with 1 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, if you use 1 billion Ghana cedis to create jobs of 1 million, that is 1,000 Ghana cedis per head. So it is because of 1,000 Ghana cedis our kids are unemployed. But Mr. Speaker, the Speaker says he wants to grow our revenue by an additional 7% of GDP. Our GDP is estimated at 502 billion for 2022. Mr. Speaker, 7% is 35 billion Ghana cedis you are seeking to remove from our pocket. And then you come and look at it in the face because our children are unemployed and we are worried. You exploit our vulnerability to tell us that it is because of our children you are taking 35 billion to solve the unemployment problem. Now we ask you, how much are you using to solve the unemployment problem? You say 1 billion. You take 35 billion to give to 1 billion to unemployment. That is an insult to the intelligence of our children who are not unemployed. And this cannot be a government to be trusted. It is very clear that this government, anytime it wants to throw the bitter pill down our throat, they will find a sweetener that doesn't make sense. They will find a slogan that just manages the narrative, and they leave the economy to continue to falter. And when things have reached this head, they are unwilling to engage for us to assist them, do the right things to correct the challenges, and make sure that Ghanaians live a better life. They want us to assist them to break the back of Ghanaians, and we cannot be part of it. Mr. Speaker, in the banking sector again, they themselves indicate that assets in the banking sector declined from 22% to 16%. In fact, even in COVID, our banks were better. After COVID, our banks are now becoming koshoko. Mr. Speaker, they tell us investment in our banking sector declined from 36% to 30%. Mr. Speaker, they also tell us that deposit that was growing at about 16.6% is now, that was growing at 23.8%, is now declining to 16.4%. So the people who took all those 44 billion, they didn't spend it in the economy. What kind of economic managers spend billions and they disappear from the economy? Something must be happening to those men. Mr. Speaker, they now say that we should allow them to impose e-money. Electronic levy. Mr. Speaker, no matter how you call that thing, it's a monster. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't matter the language that you use, that is a killer. Mr. Speaker, that will change the face of our families and our children and the entire business community if we allow this to pass. This is anti-poor, it is anti-business, it is the most regressive. Mr. Speaker, our role here is not to kill the hen that lays the golden egg. And that hen is the businessman we are taxing to death. That hen is the working community that worked very hard to break their back, only for you to take the money and go and pay for interest payment, but you are not fixing our roads. Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, we need to tell this government in face that when they came to us last year, they said that revenues had dropped by 11 billion because of COVID. And then in addition to that, they spent 19 billion on COVID. Mr. Speaker, the two figures put together is 40 billion. In 2021, they spent only 2.3 billion on COVID. And yet, we still have expenditure in excess of the 40 billion. So if you are running a family as a family head, and there's disaster in your house, and you tell your family they should allow you to borrow to fix the problem, next year you continue to build to fix the problem that is already fixed. And you continue to keep asking the family to give you more money, even when the problem doesn't exist. Mr. Speaker, this government must cut the expenditures that were related to COVID to the tune of about 40 billion before you come to us for a conversation. You cannot be asking us to fund your inefficiency, fund the waste in the system, and in the end you think that that is what the people of Ghana want. The people of Ghana have asked us not to kill them further. But Mr. Speaker, I come from Bolgatanga Central Constituency. And they came and deceived us that they were going to provide one of the multi-purpose dams that we have never seen. Mr. Speaker, to date, after 3 years, only $56 million they have to pay on mobilization, they can pay. Mr. Speaker, in this budget, under page 252, they are projected to spend only 26 million Ghana cedis on a project that is worth approximately $1 billion. How can you scam us? How can you look us in the face and make us have hope that there will be a dam when you know that you are not going to provide for it? Mr. Speaker, on this note, I want to call my colleagues. Think about your constituency. Think about your constituents who are suffering. Don't think about your government, but think about the people that brought you here. And join me to kill the killer tax before it kills us. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Yeah.